Hi everyone, it's Ash here from FPL Hints, back with another ratings of FPL drafts across FPL Twitter. But joining me on this um, video is Markku Ojala. He's back after I interviewed him last season, and together we'll be reviewing the experts' first draft reveals. How's it going, Markku?
I'm doing fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good as always, and as always, it's an honor to speak to you, being the top 10 Hall of Fame manager that you are. Um, what are your aims and ambitions for the season ahead?
I think it's pretty much the same as every year. I'm aiming for the top 10K, as always. I was painfully close last season, as I had enough points for it, but I had made too many transfers, so AI ended up in 10.1K or something. So this year I try to get back into top 10K, and of course it gets more difficult every year, so I can't be too disappointed if I don't make it, but that's the goal anyway.
Absolutely, and look, no doubt that with the way that you play, that you'll smash those goals. And yeah, just keep flying, mate. That's all I can say. You're an absolute legend. And yeah, so what we're doing today is we have all the experts' first draft reveals that were shared via official FPL. And I'm literally going to ask you to rate them from 0 to 5. You can use like a zero point 0.5 rating as well if need be. And just for the sake of mystery and suspense, I'm not going to tell you who the content creators are. I'll let you rate the team. And if you are absolutely curious as to who they are, I'll reveal the identity. And if it is a 4.5 or 5-star rating, we'll also reveal the identity as well. Otherwise, it'll be completely anonymous. Is that all good?
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's not reveal the 0 out of 5 ones.
Oh, definitely not. And hopefully there won't be any like that.
Yeah, I don't
So,
think so. I don't think that's even possible.
no, exactly. They're experts after all. So here we go. Here's the first team. Pickford in goal. Trent, Gabriel, Estupinan in defence. Saka, Son, Mitoma, Bruno, and Wemo making up a five-man midfield. Then you've got Nkunku and Haaland up top.
Okay. Does it show the bench?
No, we haven't got the bench, unfortunately. That's one that's missing for all of those teams here. So, I mean, it's safe to assume that for the most part, it'll be a budget defense for almost all the teams, but 3-5-2 with this 11.
Well, the starting 11 looks good, but it would have been nice to see the bench so you can a little bit rate squad depth as well, but it's fine. So this pretty template team, I'd say.
Yes,
Son is the one that's maybe not so template. I
yes,
I actually kind of like it, but for me, I need to see a little bit, maybe a little bit the formation with the new manager, how they play. Um, it's I believe from game week 3 is the good fixtures from Spurs. So
yes,
I'm personally not maybe that keen on starting with anyone from Spurs, but I like the potential that Son has, and Kunku is also seems to be very popular. So I can't fault the pick. Uh,
mhm,
I think my personal preference is probably Jesus, I'd say.
yes,
Yeah, and Kunku, I've heard his great things about him, and he's a great player, but he might be playing maybe more of a number 10 role and not
yes.
actually a forward, so that maybe hinders a little bit. We have to wait and see how Chelsea plays. But in general, I like it. I'd give it maybe 4 out of 5 stars.
Okay, 4 out of 5 stars. No, that's a fair rating there. And it didn't reach the 4.5 threshold, and you weren't curious enough to know who it is, so we'll leave that one anonymous. So,
Yes, sir.
yep, we'll move on to our next draft. Here we go. So just shifting on to the next manager. They've got Pickford in goal as well. Four-man defence of Shaw, Estupinan, Gabriel, and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Midfield of Fernandes, Odegaard, Saka, and Mitoma, and an attack of Haaland and Watkins.
Okay, Watkins is the interesting one. I haven't really seen Watkins in many drafts
No.
before this one. I personally haven't even considered him, to be honest. I've been more in the Jesus or Nkunku camp, but
Yes.
I believe their fixtures are a little bit of a mixed bag. I think they have Newcastle and Liverpool, but they also have Everton and Burnley, so I guess it could work.
Hmm.
But personally, I'm more interested in Jesus and Kunku. But then on the midfield, I'd say pretty standard picks.
Yeah.
Ødegaard is the one that's interesting one because you could go for Martinelli for a little bit cheaper, and
Yeah.
uh, I prefer Martinelli maybe a little bit more. That could change. Ødegaard, of course, has the X means factor. He should be pretty much nailed on. And Martinelli, I believe, is a nailed on starter, but his minutes might be a little bit lower if he gets subbed earlier. So I understand someone going for Ødegaard, but personally, I prefer I'd say Martinelli at
Hmm.
this point. But then overall, it looks good. It looks good, and I'd say maybe I don't like it as much as the first one, so I'd
Hmm.
have to give it maybe 3.5 stars.
Okay. No worries. And it's interesting. This draft and the previous one had Pickford in goal. What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's a fine pick. Pretty good fixtures, and but the team wasn't great last season, so maybe not that much, not that many clean sheets are expected. And
Yeah.
if Flecken is a starter at Brentford, I think I prefer him. But these are things that we don't know yet. So these ratings we give, they are on limited information. So of course,
Exactly.
things are gonna change for these drafts and in our minds. So, but at this point, I think Pickford is a fine pick.
Yeah. And talking of Pickford and moving on to our next draft, there he is again. Pickford,
Yeah,
third
very
draft in
highly
our.
owned.
Yeah. I think all those green boxes have attracted a lot of the experts' eyes there. Gabriel, Shaw, and Trent in a three-man defence. Odegaard again, Saka, Mitoma, and Mbeumo, Bruno. And you got Haaland and Nkunku making this front attack.
Yeah, so this is again pretty template-ish,
Yeah,
template-ish draft. Nothing wrong with it. It's just look pretty much the same as many others. But Ødegaard again is the maybe a little bit interesting pick. Not in every draft, so I like it. What was the defense again?
so just going back to the defence, you've got Gabriel, Shaw, and Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yes, yeah, it's very good. Again, it would have been so much nicer to see the bench, so we could a little bit maybe see if they have any rotations or anything like that planned. It
Yeah.
would have been easier to give ratings, but overall, I like it. It's
Hmm.
I'd say I'd give it a 4 stars
4 out of 10. No, fair enough. And
or
it
four
seems
out of
like
five.
four. Was that a 4 out of 5? Did you say?
Yeah.
No, that's completely fine. So once again, just short of that 4.5 threshold. And we'll move on to our next draft here, and you'll see that a pattern is beginning to emerge. So I just make sure that I'm on the right team here. Here we go. Look who's in goal again, Pickford.
Pickford again, 100% EO, I guess.
It almost seems as if like the experts got together, like on the day before the game launched. So yep, we're all going to pick Pickford. So
Yeah, I think so. By
yeah.
the way, a little off-topic question: what's your preference for goalkeeper right now?
So I have this like fascination for having a budget goalkeeper, and I understand that Areola has a very good chance of starting for West Ham this season, and he's 4.0. And if that is the case, and with West Ham's reasonable run of games, I would contemplate having him potentially. And is it worth getting him for an extra 500,000? Who knows? But that's where my eye is, and he's in my current draft right now. What do you think of Areola?
I really like him if he starts. So what remains to be seen. And Ariola, he's 4 million goalkeeper actually. So
Yeah.
that's actually very. I think if you could see the benches here, I think many of the experts would have Ariola as their first sub. That's my
Oh
guess.
yeah, definitely.
Or maybe the Everton's second goalkeeper. That's the other option, I guess.
Yeah,
So if they wanna make sure if Pickford gets injured or something. But I guess Areola would be the favorite bench goalkeeper, and I currently have him as well. So
yeah,
I really like it if there is some potential for a starting 4 million
yeah.
goalkeepers.
Because the news that I read at the end of last season and also in pre-season was Fabianski will still be at West Ham, but due to his age, I think they're willing to try out Areola. And like, I think some people make this comparison of like Danny Ward, Iverson, Areola, but I feel that he's like a different class goalkeeper in some respects compared to them as well. And he'll be wanting to nail down that number one spot if it's available. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. So, but back to this draft team: Pickford in goal, Trent, Estupinan, Gabriel, Bruno, Madison, Foden, Mitoma, Saka, Jesus and Haaland.
Well, right off, what catches the eye is the Madison Foden double up in the midfield.
Yeah,
Uh, well, this seems like a draft that could be great, but we have a little bit limited information. So whoever made this draft, I don't. If the deadline was tomorrow, I don't think he would start with this team. I
no.
think this is a team that he or she hopes that is going to be good, and that preseason is going to reveal the formations and minutes for Madison and Foden. So I think this has great potential, but with information we have, I cannot give it a super great rating.
Hmm.
And I think Foden is actually in my bus team,
Yeah,
and I saw Luke, who does the Manchester City predictions, he's predicting for Foden to start in the Kevin De Bruyne role when De Bruyne
yes,
is out. So I think he has great potential there. And Madison, of course, is a quality player, but I would like to see how he fits in the Spurs team. So great potential, but with limited information, I would probably just give maybe 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5.
But
No
this
worries.
actually is interesting thing. So if you could reveal who this is, so
This team that was revealed on official FPL, this was FPL Raptors team.
oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think this team does have a lot of potential. I believe that Foden will definitely be in with a shout of starting, provided that KDB isn't fully fit. And of course, I know there's Bernardo Silva, Mara is still about as well. But if Foden does start from the onset, of course, you've got the X Men's issue. Madison, bit of a risk, but he'd want to hit the ground running with this new manager at Spurs. So there is potential here. But the pattern I've already noticed in these first four drafts, which I've got no doubt you've clocked on as well, where's Mohamed Salah?
Yeah, it seems to be experts are not liking the double premium drafts, and it's
Yeah,
understandable because when you look at the midfield, it's stacked. It has so many great options. So there's no really need to go for another premium when you're not going to captain him. Only maybe in like game week 2 when they have Salah would have Bournemouth at home.
yeah.
So I understand the logic there. I'm currently on no Salah version myself, but
Hmm.
there's still a month to deadline. A lot of things could change. So let's see what happens.
Exactly. And moving on to our fifth draft now, and we've got the man again, Pickford in goal. So definitely something going on there in the experts' water. Got Pickford in goal, and oh, for some reason I cannot. Let me just zoom out. Give me one moment. Here we go. Pickford in goal. Estupinan, Gabriel, Trent. Wow, Mitoma, Bruno, Odegaard, Foden, and Grealish. Gakpo, Haaland, and we can see the bench here. Got
Okay.
Virginia, Botman, Henry, and is it Semenyo. So this is a very different team to what we've seen. So obviously some same names, but very interesting here.
Yeah, this is quite a kind of wild one, if if we can call it that one.
Yeah,
The thing that strikes me right off the bat is no Saka in midfield. Only one attacking asset from Arsenal instead
Yeah.
choosing to go triple attack from Manchester City. So Grealish is gonna take along for sure. He's a good pick, but personally, this doesn't look too exciting for me. This draft.
Hmm.
I'll give props for the bench depth a little bit. There's Botman
Yeah.
and Henry, both are good options. I think
Yeah.
Botman especially is underpriced this season.
Definitely.
So it's bench, but it's pretty pretty wild. Wild. No Grealish, no Saka.
Mm.
Uh, I don't know. What do you think?
I feel that this draft, they're looking to attack those early fixtures. Most likely will wild card quite early. I feel like, again, there's no Mohamed Salah here as well. So, yeah, this is a very different draft, something different from the template. What rating would you give it? That's the most important thing.
Uh, I would probably give it 2.5 stars. I'd say.
Okay.
Maybe I'm just a template fanboy, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyone who goes too far away from template, I'm gonna shit on them. But
No,
but
fair,
this is an
fair enough.
interesting one. Can you reveal who's it is?
You want to know who that one is? This one is as well. This is Holly
Yeah.
Shan's team.
Okay. Okay. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
So no, it's interesting how we've got like template players here, but at the same time, like they're not afraid to have variation. So it's not like
Yeah,
everyone's
I
got
give
the same
props
team in
for
that respect.
I'll give props for going different. And the thing is, with some content creators, I'm sometimes wondering if they're going different for different sake, so
Hmm.
it looks better for viewers. But
Yeah.
maybe
That,
their team in the end might shift a little bit towards the template, but will remains to be seen.
Absolutely, and that is a very like interesting point to make that you've made there. That if a content creator picks a player, is it because they well and I'm not talking about that team in particular. I'm just saying in general that do they well and truly like believe in that pick, or is it a case of it's a spicy pick and it will generate debate as well? But that's just another conversation altogether. Moving on to team number 6, we've got Leno in goal. Thankfully, different goalkeeper now. Trent, Zinchenko, and Ake. So variation in defence: Rashford, Saka, Foden, Maddison, Mitoma, Haaland, Gakpo, and we can see the bench here as well: Rodak, Cash, Balogun, interesting, and Bayer.
It's a spicy one.
Yeah, of
I think Balogun pick is for sure. It's just in case he moves to another Premier League team. He's
course.
not gonna own Balogun if he stays
Yes.
there. But anyways, uh, again Foden Madison that Raptor had that has great potential, but a little bit of a mystery there.
Yeah.
Um, and Gakpo again, I don't. It's a fine pick, but something about it doesn't
No,
really.
doesn't sit well with me, Gakpo.
Yeah, same for me.
Yeah, I'd rather have Jesus, to be honest with you. Like,
Yeah,
hate it's
yeah,
screaming at me just due to the opening run of game. I know that Havertz is there now as well, and that there is a concern that Jesus' minutes might be managed, but definitely worth more. Like you could say, Gakpo's minutes will be obviously managed as well with the Nunes like there as well. So yeah, fair play to this person. But what's your rating for this draft?
I'll give some props for uh, one thing that I haven't seen before in this draft that you showed earlier, and that's a Manchester City defender.
Yes.
I'm personally I think I'm gonna start with a City defender
Hmm.
because I really rate their defense. They're the best defense in the league. They were a little bit unfortunate with they were underperforming their expected clean sheets at the end of the
Yes.
season. I was an Ederson owner, so that was painful time for me
Yeah.
personally. But I have still have high hopes for them, so I actually give props for having a City defender there.
Yeah.
But in general, uh, it's the Gakpo pick and the question marks for Foden and Madison. I don't think I can give it a too high rating. Maybe I'll say three out of 5 stars.
No, fair enough. And you mentioned like Man City and their defence there. No doubt, surely they should expect more clean sheets than they got last season, just based on the laws of gravity.
Yeah,
And then moving on to this next draft here, we see Pickford again in goal, Alexander-Arnold, Shaw and Estupinan, midfield of, I like this Mbeumo and Mitoma combo, Fernandes, Martinelli, Rashford, Haaland and Kunku, and then you got Virginia, Bell, Henry, and is that McAtee.
Yeah. So it's a fine-looking team once again, with standard picks of Pickford, Trent, Estupinan. But then it gets a little bit spicy with double Manchester United midfield and
Yeah.
no Saka.
Hmm.
So that no Saka really it doesn't sit well with me.
Same.
I'm a big fan of Saka. I really rate him as a player and his penalties. So no, I would go Arsenal maybe double up in midfield or maybe Jesus and Saka, but just Martinelli, it just doesn't sit right with me. So that's gonna take some points in my books,
Hmm.
I'd say. Uh, and Henry's a fine pick in the bench. That's a little bit depth into it.
Yep.
So I kind of like that. I'm not sure if there's some rotation planned. I haven't looked at the fixtures that much at this stage, so I'm not sure if he's planning to get Henry in at some game weeks.
Yeah.
Does it work with Shaw or Estupinan? I'm not sure.
Possibly. I know because United have like they've got
Yeah,
some red block fixtures, or possibly with them. I'd need to work it out. But yeah, he's got
yeah,
potential to
actually,
get
yeah,
Henry.
yeah, yeah. Manchester United has Arsenal on game week 4 away, so
Yes.
Brentford has Bournemouth home, so that actually works pretty fine game week 4 at least.
Hmm.
But other Manchester United has Spurs on game week 2, and Brentford has Fulham away. I'm not actually expecting a clean sheet against
No.
Fulham
No.
either, so I'm not sure about that. But at least game week 4, it's working quite nice.
Yeah.
So I give a little bit props from that. Maybe thinking some rotation, but just the fact that they don't have Saka, I can't give too high. Maybe I'll give it a 3 out of 5 stars.
3 out of 5. No worries. And we'll move on to our next draft here. Different goalkeeper. Ramsdale in goal. Stupinan, Trent, Ake, Saka, Mbeumo, Foden, Rashford, Mitoma, Jesus, Haaland, and a bench of Areola, Colwill, Bell, and Archer.
What's the latest on Colville? Is he expected to stay or is he expected to?
I well, well, he's recently won the under 21 championships with England. I've heard different things on that front, but this manager clearly rates him highly enough. I think surely he'll get more game time than last season wherever he is. So he's just too good a player not to get more minutes. But yeah, I don't know what the definite is on his side of things.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a question mark for me. The Colville pick, I
Mm.
don't know what to think about it because I'm not sure what's going on with him. But otherwise, you look at the starting 11, it's looking pretty nice. What was the midfield again?
That midfield was Saka, Mbeumo, Foden, Rashford, and Mitoma.
Well, I really like it actually. And there's Ramsdale was the goalkeeper, right? Yep.
Yes.
So that's a
So
little bit different.
yeah.
It's not a bad pick at all, I don't think. But for me, I prefer I think Gabriel at the same price
Hmm.
personally. But it's not a bad pick
Yeah.
whatsoever. So I don't know. I kind of like this draft to be honest. I might
Hmm.
a little bit question mark with Foden, but I'll give it. I'll go all the way to 4.5 stars.
4.5. So we have to reveal the identity of that manager, and that is Gianni Butticci's team.
Wow, nice.
Yeah. So he's got your attention there.
Can you
And then
can you show his defense once more? I just wanna
oh yeah, of course.
take a quick look.
Yeah, so Estupinan, Trent, and Ake. I think the reason he's got Ramsdale in goal is he could have got Gabriel. He's trying to accommodate a Man City defender ultimately. So I think
Yeah,
that's what he's basically done there. But that's your highest rating so far, 4.5 stars out of 5. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see with the remaining drafts if anyone can top that.
yeah. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. So moving on to our next draft now, we have. Let me just zoom in. go. So this manager has Fabianski in goal, um, Estupinan, Shaw, Zinchenko back line, Rashford, Mitoma, Saka, Enciso, and Buemo, Haaland, Jesus. Is that Areola? Yep, sub one. Goalkeeper, you got Ake, Trent as a sub two, and McAtee. This is very different. Wow.
This is very different. Yeah, this is kind of looking like a bench boost bench almost.
Yeah,
Very heavy bench.
that is.
Can you show the starting 11 once more?
Yes, I can. So that was Fabianski in goal, Stupinan, Shaw, Zinchenko, Rashford, Mitoma, Saka, and Ciso and Buemo, Haaland, and Jesus.
Yeah, it's not doesn't look too bad, but uh, Enciso actually is kind of interesting one to me. Is he nailed to play on the number 10 role? If he is, he could be very very good option at 5.5.
Yeah, because they've signed Pedro as well, haven't they, this
Yeah,
season?
so that's a little bit question mark for me. Is he gonna
Yeah.
be playing at that number 10 role consistently, getting enough minutes? If he is,
Mm,
he's gonna be golden, but I'm not so sure about that.
yeah,
Um, he had Fabianski and Areola.
correct.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm not really that high on starting West Ham goalkeeper every week in and out. I think maybe if Areola is starter, it could be nice to have him as a backup starting some tougher games when your number one goalkeeper has a bit tougher games.
Yep.
But starting every week in and out, I'm not so sure about that.
Hmm.
And also this bench is crazy with Trent bench and Ake as well. I don't know what to think about this. Uh,
Yeah.
so there's
Give us.
something very wrong about benching Ake and Trent, I'd say so. I
Yeah. So what rating are we giving this manager?
think I'm gonna give it a 2.5 stars.
2.5 stars. Should I keep the identity anonymous, or do you want to know whose team
I
this
think
is?
this is very different, so maybe you should reveal it.
It's FPL Guns, the world
Oh,
champion
it's
team.
the
Yeah,
winner. So who
it's
am
the
I to
winner.
say?
Yeah.
Who am I to say anything? This guy is the champion, so don't listen to me.
There we go. I spoke to him at the end of last season, and I know that he's someone who is not afraid to like take risks and go against template at times as well. Maybe there is some logic behind that sub one and sub two. It's interesting because people are starting those two defenders, and he's happy to bench them. And no doubt his iteration like will alternate between now and the start eve of game week one. But yes, it's really interesting food for thought there on what what he's thinking. So fair play to him, and rightly so. He can do whatever he wants. He won FPL.
Yeah, that's correct. And I remember last season he was leading FPL and he went for Wilson, although it was pretty clear that most people are going to go for Isaac. He went for
Yes,
Wilson even though he was leading, so he kind of took a
massive risk, and it
massive
worked.
risk right there. It worked perfectly and clinched the win probably for him. So I gotta respect that for sure.
Exactly. We're going to just do one final rating, if that's okay with you, and then
That
we'll
sounds
call
good.
it quits. So this draft here, they've got Fabianski in goal, and I spoke to them. They've got Areola as their sub one, Estupinan, Trent, Gabriel, Akanji as the back line, Saka, Bruno, and Buemo and Mohamed Salah in their midfield, Haaland and Morris as their striker.
The first Salah
4-4-2.
draft we have.
The first and only Mohamed Salah draft from the experts.
I can't be hating on picking Salah too much. So, but for this draft, I'd say I would really need to see the bench because I definitely don't want to start Morris every week in and out. So
But he
I'm
did he not
hoping,
score like 20 odd goals in the championship, if I'm not mistaken?
yeah, but he's also playing for Luton, and I'm not expecting too big things from them.
Sure.
Uh, I'm not expecting Morris to be a goal
So,
scoring machine. So
so I can actually see their bench. It's just not showing on screen here. So
okay,
they've got Areola as the goalkeeper. They've got a 4.5 million midfielder, Ndombele as their sub 1, and they have Bell as their sub 2, and they've got Luton's Taylor as their sub 3. So of those players, maybe Bell could get minutes, and Ndombele, if he fits into the system, there's not many 4.5 midfielders there. So yeah, at the very most, probably one playing player off the bench. But what do you make of this draft? Is it very balanced, would you say, in terms of the players that are available here, even with Mohamed
Yeah,
Salah in the team?
it looks, in general, I think it looks, the starting 11 looks pretty nice, even with Salah in there.
Yeah.
But as I said, I really don't like it to be starting Morris every week. I would
Yes.
like for there to be a viable option for him in tougher weeks, and maybe start Morris in the plum fixtures, maybe using him as a part of rotation with some defender, some other player, possibly. But but from what I heard about this, what you said his bench was, it sounds like he's gonna be playing Morris every week, pretty much. So
Pretty much, yeah.
yeah, so
That
that to me is a little bit of I don't like it personally, but otherwise it looks good. I think I
mm,
like the Manchester City defender pick, although
mm,
I haven't gotten into the expected minutes of Manchester City defenders. I would probably have to read what Luke says. He knows
yes.
way more about that than I do. So I'm not sure is Akanji the best pick or Ake, or I prefer Stones myself, but of course he's zero point 0.5 more than Akanji or Ake, so I understand going for Akanji or Ake.
But what this
Uh,
manager could do is like assuming that Fabianski doesn't start, Areola does, switch out Fabianski for a 4.0 goalkeeper, and then upgrade one of those bench players easily for an extra 500,000. So they could then potentially have two playing subs, and then Morris could be rotated, I guess.
yeah, that would probably boost this team's rating for me quite a bit to have the option of not playing Morris on the
Yeah,
more difficult fixtures, because I expect Luton to get smashed pretty much this season. Maybe
yeah.
I'm wrong, but I'm not expecting great things from them. So maybe if that's the case, if he makes a little adjustments, this could be a very good team, and it's nice to see a team with Salah and that actually looks pretty good.
Yeah.
But before those adjustments, I'd give it maybe 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. And I'm going to reveal the identity of that manager. That was my team.
Oh, it was your team.
That was my first. That was actually. I'm gonna cheat. Actually, it wasn't my first draft team. It was, and I'm not an expert, but it was like a variation of my first draft team, and um, I've updated it massively since then. So I don't have Morris as my starting striker. I don't even have a Man City defender right now, but I do have that triple up in midfield of Salah, Fernandez, and Saka, because I feel that and I've got Alexander Arnold, Haaland, Gabriel Stupinan as well.
That's a very
So
good core for our team.
yeah, and ultimately, I just feel, and I've said this on all my streams and videos where I've talked about Mohamed Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold, I feel it's easier to downsize to them than it is to upsize to them, and that's just an opinion ultimately. And I feel that let's just say if Liverpool somehow hit the ground running right, Trent and Salah get a double-digit haul. Bournemouth is next. People will be taking -4s and -8s to get them in ultimately, um, as a potential. But right now, I just can't get off the Salah bandwagon. We've seen how many drafts? I think almost 10 drafts there, and literally no one else dared putting Salah in. But for now, he is in my starting 11. Not this is obviously I've updated the draft since then, but he is still in there.
Yeah, actually, I like this. There's nothing wrong going for Salah. He's a FPL, the king of FPL pretty much for how many
Yeah.
seasons in a row. So I would love to have Salah, but it's a little bit difficult. But as you have shown here, it's actually doable with a good looking team with slight adjustments to that draft, in my opinion. So I don't hate it. That's for sure.
Thank you very much. And yeah, I've kind of put some bias in there as well, but trying to get you to rate it a bit higher. But yeah, to be honest with you, I've improved the draft massively since then. It's just the Fabianski thing that I forgot that he may not be starting, and that kind of wrecked it up slightly. But yeah, just looking forward to making more adjustments.
Yeah, I have
And I
to check
might
it out. Check out your latest draft. I haven't. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm gonna check it out after we finish here.
Fantastic. And I'm mindful we have ran over, so my apologies, Marku.
Yeah, no problem.
But yeah, just for anyone who wants to follow Marku on Twitter, that's Markku Ojala underscore, and I'll put your Twitter account in the description box below. And yeah, look, it's been a privilege speaking to you again, and just taking in those ratings and your mindset to the game as well. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up, Marku?
No, I don't think so. I think we have a lot of information yet to get from preseason, and for me personally, I'm waiting for FPL review to launch again. I'm a
Yes.
big fan of FPL review, so there's a lot of things that will change until now and the deadline. So don't burn yourself out doing too many drafts. Just chill out a little bit and wait for more information.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that there. And it just seems like a lot of people have just gone into full on draft mode. I've made a lot of videos, but surprisingly, I could count the number of drafts that I've done on the palm of my hand. There's not actually been that many. But yeah, it's just, new players will be signed, new information will come during preseason friendlies, players get injured. It is what it is. But yeah, it's there's still plenty of time between now and the 11th of August. So look, apart from that, thank you so much. I look forward to talking with you hopefully later on in the season and following your team doing fantastically well as well. Take care and all the best, Marku. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye bye.